Right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this extension on our Beyond the Field of Play series with regards to the men's football at Worthing College. For the last 2 or 3 years now, we've done these workshops in terms of inviting Year 11 players, parents in to kind of have a little look in terms of things that we do beyond just the football, beyond just the coaching side of things. We've done psychology, we've done nutrition, we've done conditioning. And today, we are, or I'm pleased to have with me, 3/4 of my staff. Obviously, Steve Braybook's not with us tonight, but he will be with us on some of these very soon. We've got Jimmy Punter, our performance coach of the program, and also we're going to introduce you to Giuseppe Lammi and Joel Parsons, who have been an integral part into our success of the program itself this year in terms of how it builds. Because for me, it's very important to build the program year on year. These guys have done a lot of work with us both on and off the field. So guys, before we dig into the nuts and bolts with regards to video analysis, because this is what this Beyond the Field of Play vodcast is all about, just introduce yourself. So G, introduce yourself in terms of what you're doing right now and kind of little bits you've been doing for us.
Yeah, so like Dave said, my name's G. Was at the college for 3 years as a player. Currently my 4th year now at the college. This year as like Dave said, analysis coach. Spent 2 years as a college student doing sports science as a BTEC and also A-level history. And for the past 2 years, I was doing the foundation degree, which is associated with Chichester Uni. Yeah, and obviously at the moment, tough time, so I'm just kind of sitting at home like everyone else, doing work, and just kind of keep myself busy. But yeah, it was a shame that the season was cut short because it was really enjoyable doing what we were doing. So yeah, it's a bit about me, and I'm hoping to continue the video analysis in the future with the college and other places as well. So yeah. Joel.
Oh, yeah, I'm Joel. Similar to G, really. Was at the college for 3 years as a player. Had a really good time, and studied as a college student for 2 years doing the sports BTEC, which was really enjoyable. Then went on to the foundation degree, where the 3rd year allowed me to carry on playing for the football team, and then this year's brought up the opportunity to do video analysis, which I'm really grateful for, and learnt new skills. So yeah, having a good time.
And the superstar, Jimmy Punter.
Hi guys, I'm Jimmy Punter, currently the performance coach at Worthing College. I'm also one of the first team coaches at Horsham Football Club. I started out at the college 7 years ago, I think. Was it 7 years ago, Dave? That must be right.
Hi there.
Yeah, curtains back then, actually. I studied for 3 years in finance and business. I then changed course and wanted to go into sport coaching. So I done an apprenticeship at the college, where I also took on the role as performance coach in the men's football academy. Since then, I'm on the same course as G and Joel, so I'm a bit older than G and Joel. I started the course at the same time as them, so I'm on the foundation degree at the moment. We're just about to finish it by really the first week of May, and yeah, I've been now coaching the football academy for 4 seasons. So, and G and Joel have been a real improvement to the group, especially to me and Dave as staff, because not only do they lead activation warm-ups, not only do they spend a lot of time and effort on their video analysis, and they're really thorough, and they really put thought and effort into it, but also they're a great connection between me and Dave and the players at points, because obviously they're a little bit younger, aren't they, Dave? Joel, you're 20?
Yeah, both 20.
Both 20. So it's a nice little connection between, you know, what me and Dave can do and also the players. So they've done a real great job this year, Dave.
Yeah, they certainly have. And I think the important thing, and it's like when, you know, going back all those years, when I worked with Danny Cullip, and obviously he left the programme in terms of filling such a gap. And I think the important thing that I can't stress highly enough is I need staff that have lived the system, so they know what the requirements are, they know what the standards are, they know how players work, they know how we tick, they know to say no, and they know to disagree with what we do, which is highly beneficial to the learning environment. So, you know, obviously it's not a substitute for playing, because playing is obviously the main thing, but what we're going to try and get across in this podcast is the work that G and Joel have put in, and also what they've done to kind of enhance the program, and actually as well to see from a point of view how easy it is to implement, if you've got the right equipment, if you've got a little bit of know-how. I think again, and it was something I've mentioned on previous podcasts, is that a lot of people overcomplicate things, and the important thing that we try and implement is try and keep it as simple as possible. So with that in mind, G, Joel, and then obviously Jimmy, you know, join in with your points as well. You know, what is or what has been a typical week for you in terms of your role with regards to the academy, and obviously the focus on video analysis? So G, start with you, mate.
For the academy, it was, you know, so obviously there was training Mondays and Fridays, which we would be at every session. We'd help out with the warm-ups and stuff and setting up, helping out for the sessions. And then every now and again, there was a game either on a Monday or on a Friday as well. But we'd normally have our games on Wednesday afternoons. Normally 2 games, one away, one at home in our typical week. And one of us would sometimes go with the away side, and then one of us would stay at home just to record the games. And we would use this recording for our video analysis, which would take place on a Thursday. And we would take this footage, and then we'd either break it down at home, or we'd come into the college, use the office, use facilities there, watch the game through. We'll find specific clips which we think we need to show the players that is just, you know, something that was completely wrong in the game, or, you know, they need to improve on, or something that was really positive. We need to take that forward and use that in, you know, games in the future. We'd find those clips, edit them, we'd put them all onto a little file, and then we present this in front of the players on that Thursday afternoon. And we would then potentially work on things that we found we needed to improve on in training on Friday and Monday for the following game on the Wednesday.
Perfect. Joe, if you could expand on that, brilliant. But have a think about how we've worked, or how we've done video analysis against opposition this year as well. So give the listeners, the viewers, a little bit of an insight in terms of, yes, we've focused mainly on ourselves, but also what kind of work have we done at times, at certain games, at certain parts of the year with regards to opposition, Joel?
Yeah, so basically when Dave could get the footage, we'd have footage from other teams in cup competitions, mainly the national cup competitions, and that'd get put onto Huddle, the website that we use to edit the games and upload them. And me and G would basically pick apart the opposition, find out their strengths, their weaknesses, what they're good at, what like their weakest player is, their best player. So basically, when we presented this back, everyone knew their role before the game had started, because you're playing teams from wherever, Portsmouth, London, all over the country. So you're never going to have played them before. And so it was nice to be able to give the boys like not a head start, but so that they knew what they needed to do. And if they executed this, then they maximise their chance of winning even more.
Perfect.
And also, if I just add on to that, Joel, the stuff that you boys did on opposition also gives me and Dave a heads up, because we know. I think it's important that we know what we're coming up against, and also the players know, a couple of days in advance what to expect. Because I think sometimes if you're a player and you don't know what to expect from a team, you've got to take the first sort of 10, 15 minutes to try and figure out what's happening. But, like you said, the great work that you and G have done, not just in analysing ourselves, but analysing the opposition, is that, we know what sort of formation they play. We know we have an idea of how they want to come and play the game. So we can adjust ourselves. And I know me and Dave have spoken about this, is how much it doesn't just help the players, but also helps mine and Dave's thought process in terms of going into the game as well. So, I think that's really important, Joel.
Yeah, I think I was going to ask you, Jim, as well. What do you think the benefits are at our level, in particular? What do you think the benefits are for the players and the coaches? I know you've touched upon the coaches, but what do you think the real benefits are? The job that Joel and G have done, and let's say we haven't got an extravagant budget to spend loads of money on it, like being at a professional level or even being at a high non-league level. But what kind of the benefit do you think that really come across with using this kind of?
I think for me, I think the main benefit that you get from it is accountability. When things are being filmed, when games are being filmed, even when training sessions are being filmed, you can't hide. No, players can't hide and say, "Oh no, that didn't happen," or "No, that did happen," because you've got the video. And I think what's really important, and that's not a bad thing. That's not calling out players. That's just they don't realise. A lot of the time in the heat of the game, they're not able to realise the situation. If you can then replay that to them and they go, "Oh yeah, actually, fair play. You were right," or maybe we might have been wrong, Dave. There's been many times where I've popped in to see G and Joel whilst they're working, and I've looked at something and gone, "Do you know what? Actually, I was probably wrong about that." And in the team meeting, we'll say that. I mean, we can throw our hands up and say, "Do you know what, chaps? Actually, maybe I got it wrong. I got it wrong on Wednesday. Maybe we should have done this a bit better instead of doing that." And I think so. Accountability, not just for us as staff, but accountability for the players is really important, because that's how they can improve that way. They can look at it and they can't just go, "Oh yeah, but I couldn't do anything about that," and actually go, "Well, actually, have you thought maybe?" And I know G and Joel have come up with some brilliant suggestions in our team meetings, where actually the players have sat there and thought, "Actually, do you know what? Probably you're right." And actually, we can see that then when they go into that situation or that moment in a game, they've got that sort of experience and the know-how to go, "Oh, I know how to deal with this now." So I think that for me is a really important one, video analysis.
I think some great points. I think the other thing as well is obviously because our squad is quite big. You players that aren't maybe getting the game time that they think they should do, or again linking to that accountability, you can as a squad player, as a fringe player, you can look at that video and go, "Well, actually, that's what Dave, Jim, G, Joel want as a midfield player, as a defender, as an attacker. Now that's what I'm going to implement when we're training as well." So I think, that allow rather than, and also what it does is we learn differently, don't we? So obviously some people take instruction on board, some people like it, like to do it themselves, some people like to, to see it. So obviously if we can provide that environment where you've got all those little opportunities,
100%.
That is an environment where people can develop. What I will say is we didn't do it with every opposition, but literally I think probably out of the 6 or 7 opposition we worked on or we had footage on, I think out of the 7, I think our game plan came off 6 times.
Yeah.
And it was, and it takes a lot of factors. Obviously, the first thing is obviously G and Joel putting all that together, which takes time. Which obviously in the past time I haven't had, and we're gonna talk about pros and cons of video analysis in a minute. In terms of, I know G, you love a good camera angle, so you can talk about that all you want in a minute. But if you look back to some of our old footage when Jimmy was playing, the camera work was awful.
When it was black and white.
But obviously, yeah. But with the different aspects to it, obviously the boys buy into what you two are doing. So what they do is they,
Massively.
as we say quite a lot, we trust the process. We trust, trust the guys of the preparation, and we trust obviously with regards to implementing that game plan. Which fair play, it's all right us, talking it and saying it. It's the players implementing it. So again, that's fair credit to them. So it's not, it's not one without the other. Moving on to that, boys, before we have a little bit of a live demo, let's hope this works. But kind of what are the pros and cons of it? So if someone, let's say, as a grassroots coach out there or a non-league club, I don't know, county league club, obviously hasn't got the time to invest the money to get someone external, because I know there's, like your instant replay is an outstanding provision. Louis does an amazing job. But obviously if people can't access that or this, that and the other, kind of what are the pros and cons of video analysis? What do we need?
Well, for me, what I've found is one of the pros of video analysis is that it not only helps myself understand games a lot broader, a bit broader aspects, and understand different scenarios, but it also helps the players understand how to improve their game as well. Because I've noticed this season, especially from doing this, there were certain midfield players where at the start of the season, weren't they believed that in themselves that they were playing how we wanted them to, when really looking back at the footage, they were miles off it. And once we pointed this out, they stepped their game up. And in my opinion, I'll use it as an example. I'll use the name of an example, but Ted Hartley did it this year for me and stepped up for the ECFA squad and was one of the players of the season, because he took on board what we were saying about how to change how he was playing, and it really made a difference in not only his performance but the team's performance as well. So a real pro of that is it can benefit not only yourself but the players as well, and it will make you a better coach and it will make him a better player as well.
Perfect. What about you, Joe? What are the difficulties sometimes of video analysis, apart from Dave not charging the camera or something like that?
Yeah, other than that, not lasting extra time and that, but difficulties, like, I don't know, there's not too many really, but sometimes.
What do you need, Joe? What sort of stuff do you need, mate? What do you need if you're gonna do this video analysis?
Well, you're gonna need to have a platform where you can edit the games, upload them. You need to have somewhere where you can show it. So like you've got all the players on one system. So like you've got Huddle sends out an email to everyone, alerts them when we've uploaded, so they know they can watch it straight away. Like we'd edit a game and then we'd upload it. We'd go downstairs to the cafeteria, see some of the boys, and they've already watched it, which is great because they've then seen it, and then we're able to give our point of view. They can discuss with each other over lunch, like, oh, I did this and I should have done that, like literally improving themselves as it goes, basically.
And they can see that on their phones, can't they, Joel?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
Right?
So
that
the email comes through on your phone, you click on it, click to the link, you're straight on the clips that me, G have done, and we've got explanations on the side, so work-ons, what they've done well. So
cool. So what we'll do next is we'll give it a go with sharing the screen. So what we'll do now for the viewers, for the listeners, is we'll go through a game each. So Joel, you have a game, G, you have a game, and just we don't have to go through like we would do if we were doing an actual team meeting, but just kind of just tell people what's going on and how you've done it and a couple of bits you would advise. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So share it. So for the viewers at home, this is Huddle. So Huddle as a so if you research online, there's a lot of things that Huddle does, and I think the key thing that hopefully the boys will take out of this in the next bit of time is actually do it for what's suited for you, not what's suited for anyone online, any professional club. You know what you're going to be using it for, so use it for those specific bits of information. So basically what we've got here is we've got a platform where every single game over the last 4 or 5 years has been videoed. There's different bits, so there's scouting footage, there's clips of the guys that have cut up, and there's full games as well. So which one of you wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Right, G, what was your game, mate?
Could you go to the Portsmouth game at home where we drew 1-1?
Right, will do. So why have you picked that game in particular, mate?
I just remember watching this back and there being a number of scenarios that were big talking points in terms of how well, because I don't think we played very well that game, and yet we still could have come away with a win against a really tough opposition. And if we'd have trusted the process, like you said, we would have come away with 3 points instead. We came out with 1.
Oh no!
Oh.
Love this.
So, G, when so obviously, how long does it take you to sort of clip one game? Because I know, obviously, we after a game on a Wednesday, obviously, me and Dave talk over what both sides have got on, and then we kind of come up with a couple of things that we want you and Joel to focus on, don't we? And there might be some times where we ask you to get some stats for us. There might be times where we want you to find certain situations in the game where we either think that we've done really, really well, which is obviously really important to show the players what they've done well. And there's also obviously opportunities to us to show them times where they've not done so well. So how long does that usually take you on your Thursday slot?
So if I was to do one game on my own, because there has been times where myself and Joe have done a half each of the game. Yeah. If I was to do one on my own, I would say it would take no more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours maximum to dissect a 90-minute match, because don't forget, we're not breaking down the entire game. At the end of the day, the clips could last a total of maybe 4 or 5 minutes of that 90. But it's important that you have to stay focused for the entirety of the game, because there can be a moment in which it's important to clip and to show to the players, because moments decide games in football. For example, a set piece, one set piece can win you or lose a game, It's important to make sure that you're focused on every set piece, every little moment, every throw in, because at the end of the day, those small moments decide football matches. So no more than 2.5 hours max, 2 hours to get the clips, dissect them, talk about them, put them onto a little file, and then at the end, make sure that everything's edited correctly, all the correct notes are there, and then send it through to the players. Yeah,
brilliant. I know something that you guys have done really well, and that really links into that, is from that 2.5 hours that you've spent dissecting the game and looking at different facets of the game that we've asked you to do, you condense that into about 15 minutes, don't you, each?
Yeah.
You have about 15 minutes to talk each, because our team meetings don't last any longer than sort of 25, 30 minutes. So you condense all that information, and it's really detailed information into, sort of 15-minute slots. So again, I think that's something really important if, guys are thinking about doing video analysis, trying to introduce it at their clubs. It's important that, from that 2.5 hours that you've spent, get those fine details, get those situations you want, and then try and condense it as much as you can so that the players don't switch off. And I think that's something, that you two guys have really excelled at this year, 100%.
And I think it's it's important to have contact with the players as well and talk about it to them personally about the game, because I think there's been situations at some points where, for example, we've sent out a game, we've not really talked about it that much, and then we've not seen a notable difference into kind of what we've talked about, because we haven't delivered what we've wanted to say kind of in full, because the notes that we make on here, they're quite shorthand and we need to expand on them. So on the Thursdays when we've had the sessions and we've been able to expand our comments, we can see that the boys are taking it in and they understand what they have to do, and it shows in future games. So I think it's important to have contact with the players as well to talk about it, rather than just kind of leave it to their own device,
Yeah, good stuff, G.
Unbelievable covering from Jim. Well done. Got it up. Technology works. Good question. So it was just a bit slow, a bit like me. So basically what I've got here is I've gone to the game in question. And you guys might be able to see it as well. You'll definitely see the recording. We've got the recording itself, but also on the right-hand side, it's got a set of comments which link to a certain period in time. So, regards to that certain period in time, the guys could relate to certain parts of the video. So, G, do you want to just take us through, not all the clips maybe, because we don't want to, just kind of a couple of examples, and then I can be in charge of what you're doing in terms of moving it all about. So
yeah, sure.
So do you want me to play it? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, this is Portsmouth's goal, and I remember this was just from our point of view, just a bit of a shambles, to be honest, because from start to finish, this passage of play, it was just pretty poor. I mean, so
the beauty is we can stop it at certain bits as well and highlight things.
So that situation there, it's just kind of, in a way, just no nonsense, get it back up the pitch. And then here, I mean, well, it's just lazy, it's sloppy, and just, there you go. I mean, it shows tackles kind of flying in everywhere. And it was just, I mean, there you go. I mean, what can I say? It's sloppy. The players just didn't look interested in making a tackle. There was no desire to win the ball back. It was just half-hearted. And like you saw there was pauses in the video there, because we can pause it when we want to make a comment.
So in terms of this, what the beauty of what we do, and this is going back to this goal situation again, you can pause it at certain bits and you can put the comment in there. So for example, I've put a comment in saying this could have been avoided. So just a little bit of information about a defender, clearing their lines, and a bit of chat that we usually do. But usually this is something that, as coaches, myself and Jimmy can put stuff on after the event, whereas G and Joel usually put stuff on, and that's our left back, by the way. So again, that shape there is pretty poor. Again, another tackle missed, another tackle missed, another tackle missed. So yeah, not the greatest, and obviously we pride ourselves on defending as well. So for this runs right. Here we go. So again, we can look at any part of the game, and with certain aspects, it will stop. So again, this is where unfortunately Rob got injured quite early on in the season, which is a bit of a shame. He was just coming into his own really. But we kept talking about where he should be picking the ball up, and he was and this is where we wanted him to pick the ball up. So again, it was good to show him. G, do you want to carry on, mate? I'll just keep playing it.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like Dave said, Rob was a pivotal player at the start of the season. Unfortunate that he, had the injury that he did and kept him out for the remainder of the season. But I mean, this short clip here just shows the quality that he had when he was in those positions. He could get the ball out of his feet and just have a shot, and very unfortunate for it to not go in. But that's what we needed, not only him but other players to do more. And this one here is an example of a set piece. It's what I was touching on earlier. Just not switched on at all, and it shows because look, there's just a free man at the back post, and luckily it doesn't go in. Yeah, if I'm honest, he probably should have done better, because that was an easy chance and just not switched on at all. And there's proof of that, so no one can argue that they were switched on.
So how does using Huddle allow the players to see this? So what are the real benefits of this, rather than just having it videoed and going, right, here's the whole game, off you go?
Well, because Huddle, it allows you to break the game down into the small clips, and then within these small clips, you can, like I said, you can pause it to show kind of snapshots of, maybe positioning or shape, structure, to give an insight to the players of, what needs to be worked on, or what potentially was a good part of that game. And that could be worked on in a training game that we would do on a Monday afternoon. What's this clip here? Yeah, this one, it was just a bit of a chance and then a bit of a awful shot at the end. And then
we'll just do one more clip before we move on to Joel's stuff. But Jim, is there anything you want to add, mate?
With this, G's done a real good job here of taking the clips that we want to see. And in terms of when we give Joel and G these sort of instructions as to, maybe it's, G, I want you to look at the structure behind the ball, because I don't think really our structure was connected. Or, our front three weren't connecting as well. Could you look at that? And I think it's really important, because you can send clips to individual players as well, can't you?
Yeah.
So you can pick an individual player. Say G or Joel, they see something in a game that me and Dave have missed. You can see that. So I can send that straight to the player, and actually you can then open up on a dialogue on Huddle with that player. So you can write a message to them, they can message you back, and you can talk about it. And that can be, on a Saturday night at 10:30 at night. Or, it can be during college hours. You've got that contact with the players any day of the week, any day of the week, any time. So I think that's something else that's really important with, if you're looking at specifics, you can actually go in and go, oh, actually, for example, Jenko, playing left wing. Jenks, you've done really well there to get the ball out your feet and deliver across. However, at this opportunity, actually, you've done something completely different and it hasn't quite worked. So actually, maybe if you'd stayed wider, or you'd come inside at that certain point, or you'd stretch the opposition at that certain point, we might have had a different outcome. And I think that's healthy for our group and for our management, is you can go off your own back and talk to the player. Yeah, you don't have to come through me and Dave. You can go off your own back and go, look, Jenko, I've seen this. And then he can have a dialogue with you. And I think that, that's really important.
Also, we talk about self-management, don't we? We talk about that factor, self-management, about, players taking care of their own, also staff taking care of their own as well. It doesn't have to always go through me, Jim. It's something, and that's the beauty of the staff having, the experience of the academy of what's required and the expectations. So thanks for that. Thanks for that, G. Really appreciate that. Joel, your turn now, mate.
All right, I had Varndine at home. Well, 3-2-1.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit. Was that the ECFA game or the AOC game?
ECFA game. I just chose this one because it was tight, and there was a few things we'd worked on in the previous week that showed in this game. I'm sure at the start of the game, there was a big thing we started off with early on in the season was how could we pin other teams in from kickoff, make sure we were on the front foot right away. And
at the moment, Jim's going to do some unreal covering again.
Yeah, it was just nice to see that the boys had worked on it in training. They're doing their own thing in training before training. Instead of doing a rondo, they're working on doing this kickoff so that it benefited them come the next game week.
Perfect.
Dave?
For some reason, my internet's really slow. Don't know why.
Always picks the best times.
I know. But again, that's one of the cons probably of technology in terms of the fact of actually.
Gee, just going back to the cons of video analysis, I know you have a pet hate when maybe you can't get to a game, and maybe perhaps one of the players has to take the reins of filming. What's your little pet hate? Without getting too angry about it.
Okay, I'll try and limit this. It's just when neither of us could make it to the game. Obviously, yourself and Dave, you're focusing on the game, so that means one of the subs have had to be called up to camera duty, and instead of taking it seriously in a way and following the game. It's they're focused more on watching the game themselves and just kind of moving the camera, not really following the ball. I think there was a game at the start of the season, I think it was when we played Colliers.
We were tree watching.
And we were awful, I remember. And I think we lost 1-0. And we couldn't take anything from the game because there was hardly any footage of the ball because it was just on the floor and the camera was pointing at the floor and it was the sky. It was just useless. And I remember watching it. I was furious, So it is important because it might be, some of the players might find it boring if they're on the bench and they might be, sulking in a way because they're not playing and they don't want to film. But in the long run, it's going to benefit not only yourself but the rest of the team because we can see how we've played against Colliers, how Colliers have played against us, and then in the reverse fixture, we'll put it right because we end up losing that game. And I can't remember. I think it was 4-0 when we played them actually at home.
Yeah, I remember you bringing that up in the team meeting about this is a serious. If you're asked to do the camera, this is a serious job because I think once you'd brought that up, you could see by the players buying into what you did and what you and Joel did in terms of video analysis and how it made them better. They bought into that. If they were on the camera, it is important because actually, if they come on, they want to see themselves. Not only that, but they want to make sure that other people have the opportunity to review themselves in the game. So I think that's really important that people do understand, especially to us, how important the video analysis is.
Yeah.
And I think you after you spoke to the boys, I know no one does it on purpose. No one does it on purpose. But when the boys first come in, the first thing they think about is, they don't want to do the camera.
No.
But I think you graded. Yeah, exactly. So I think how you guys made it so important that actually, they were willing to do the camera and they're willing to actually make sure they do it at a good level is again, shows the importance of the video analysis to the group and how it made them better because they valued the input. And I think, that's half the battle is getting them to actually, you can put all of it together. And if they don't value the input and they don't buy into it, then, they're not going to treat it with respect to a certain, certain degree. But they did. They really did. And you can definitely tell by obviously the quality of filming afterwards.
Yeah. And I noticed as well, as we went on, because at the start, because myself and Joel, we're close mates with, quite a few of the boys because, we played with them, a few of them last season. And we know them through other clubs and, we just know them, really well as mates. And I think at the start of the year when they would come into the room for a video analysis session and see us two leading it, they probably didn't take it seriously. But I think after a month or so, I think they realised how important it was. It was, I think, after the Fab game, I think it was actually the first game of the season where I think we lost 4-3, and then I think that was the first or second video analysis session. And from then I could just see a gradual increase in their attention span. And then it showed because I think we had a ridiculous run where we didn't lose a game. I think, they took on information from not just us two, but from you guys as well. And they listened and they learned from their mistakes in a way.
I think it's big credit to you guys in terms of how you got them on board as well, because without getting them on board, there's no point in doing any of this. And I think anything that we do, there needs to be buy-in from the players. And if there's no buy-in from the players, then there's no point in doing it. And I think that the players get buy-in or they gain buy-in through the understanding or what you put into it. So what you two guys have put into it in particular. So as we say, you can see the work, the effort, the attention to detail that goes in. And also what we also do is we also put it back to a context. So why are we doing this? How does it link to your game? How does it link to your performance? You can take it or leave it, but if you take it, you'll go to the next level. If you leave it, there's a chance you might not. So obviously before we wrap up, Joel, I want you to go through yours and then I've got a couple of questions for you boys just to finish off, if that's all right. So, so Joel, I'll play it, mate. And you spoke about, early kick-off tempo.
Yeah.
And I think this was a great example of that.
Yeah. So the previous week, like I said earlier, I think you'd come up with the idea, Dave, where we overload one side from kick-off. So then when we can play it into their half, it puts them under pressure straight away, and they've got to be thinking from the first second. They've got to be on it because we're coming for them almost. So like although they've got a throw, we haven't got anything. We can still box them in, press them high, which meant that we could win the ball back, and obviously then we're in control. So as you see there, we won the ball back from their throw-in. Create a chance from it, scoring. Exactly. So 30 seconds in, already 1-0 up. It just shows little things like these, how it can benefit you. That's the difference between winning and losing. Because you don't score that at the start, the game's 2-2, it goes to extra time, penalties maybe, you might not win. So it just shows the value of little bits like that.
And then this is something else we work on, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Don't want to give too many secrets away. But talk about set pieces, Joel.
Yeah, so at the start of the season, we've got 2 main corner routines.
Don't give anything away, mate.
Not going to give them away, no. And the boys sort of got them okay, but in the first sort of 2-3 games, me and G could see that there was things that they could work on, things like being tighter to each other, making it harder for the opposition to mark them, little things like that, just that could then take it to the next level, making it as hard to defend for the opposition as possible. Again, trying to increase the gain of a potential goal as much as possible. So,
where do you think, Joel, the biggest benefit has come from you two guys working with our players? What do you think you have improved? You guys have improved the most, and I'll ask that to G in a minute as well.
I'm not sure. There's been a lot of things that we've been able to pick up on and work on with the boys. Things like when things are working, they don't notice in the game as much that they're working. So, for example, a long throw-in. So if the opposition can't defend a long throw-in, yeah, we might do it once and it works. The boys aren't thinking, oh, every time we need to do this. So when it came to video analysis, me and G were picking up on this. What's working is working really well, effective, and that meant we could be like, boys, if you can keep doing this, you're getting in behind every time. You need to keep pressurising their weaknesses to become one of your strengths. So things like that, I personally think. Anyway, I don't know about you, G.
Yeah, I think that is really important. I mean, it's being able to see that when they take things on board, they end up doing it naturally in a way when they get used to it in games. Because like you said about the long throw-ins, we started targeting long throw-ins towards the end of the season, and it became then apparent that when we were getting throw-ins in dangerous positions, it became natural that the players were thinking about how to set it up, when before we just treated it like another throw-in, and it was, we're using basic methods of trying to get out of tight space, when really we were then thinking about how to cause damage to the opposition. And it was just little things like that which I found most pleasing, is that we saw the players thinking about different scenarios after we talked about it to them in a session.
Perfect. So just to finish off, a couple of questions for you chaps, because it's been really insightful. First of all, because obviously this is for a little introduction to people that are hopefully wanting to be in the program and wanting to be a part of what we do, and hopefully develop as a person as well as a player. What sort of things, what advice would you give someone coming into the program with regards to video analysis, in terms of their mindset, in terms of maybe how they could use it and what they need to do? So I'll start with you, G, and then I'll go Joel, and I'll finish with Jim. Okay.
For me, the most important thing about video analysis is it's going to sound really simple and basic, but it is to focus during the sessions. It is to watch through. It is to read the comments, and to watch your own performance, I suppose, as well. because then you can identify things that you can work on, and also areas in which you're already quite strong in, and it's just about adapting your game, adapting little bits that you can, improve on, which can benefit you as a player and also benefit the team. So for me, the most important thing is just to focus and to enjoy coming to a session and watching through a game. For me, just stay focused and enjoy it, really.
Perfect. Joel, what about you?
Yeah, for me, obviously enjoyment, but don't be afraid to make mistakes. We all make them. Me and G made, I can't remember how many mistakes I made for the college team, do you know what I mean? But just because you're being videoed and you might make a mistake, it's not for people to have a go at you. It's for you to be able to look back at it and go, what can I do here so that this doesn't happen again? So that I can stop the ball going over the top of my head and the guy going in and scoring. What can I do with my body position? What can I do in terms of looking along the line, making sure I'm not playing the guy on side? Just little things like that. Just don't be afraid to make the mistake just because you're being videoed. Because at the end of the day, this is to improve you. It's not about coming in and being the perfect player. It's about coming in as what you are and trying to develop as much as possible. So,
Jim?
I think the main thing for a new player coming in when you first get to grips with video analysis is being open-minded. Being open-minded to the fact that we'll point out what you've done well. So what sort of personality you are as a footballer, what you bring to the team. But with that also comes the open-mindedness to actually accept. I wouldn't even say it's criticism, but it's just helping hands to, especially how we want to play, Dave, in terms of our structure, our tactical sort of situations in games. Be open-minded, because, G and Joel have done such a fantastic job. And, and I know players this year who have gone to G and Joel, not gone to us, Dave, but gone to G and Joel and goes, boys, can you just put a couple of clips of, of what I done well and what I didn't do well in that game? And you can, and send it to me. Could you just quickly go over that, the little highlight of where I should be at a set piece? And the more the students want to do that, then the more they improve, because the more they can see that experience and the more they can take that into training. And really, for us, Dave, we want players who know how to play for us. And I think one method of knowing our style, our system, is that if you can watch the video back and go, the coach likes that, or the coach doesn't like that, then they can start to mould, and that might be just for us, at Worthing College, they like, when I'm playing there, they want me to do this, and this. So that's my Worthing College mask. We know Steve talks about masks quite a lot. Outside of the college, you might play for your Ryman youth team, your County League youth team, even a men's first team, and they might want something different from you. But what that gives you as a player, if you are open-minded, is it makes you adaptable. And I think being adaptable in current football is extremely important. So I think that's what video analysis breeds. It can breed that sort of adaptability in a player, and I think that's really key.
Excellent. We, just to finish off, we want players that want to develop their game intelligence, that want to develop their craft, and to do that, that's one of the tools. And obviously, people say, oh yeah, we offer video analysis, offer a strength conditioning, this and this. We physically do offer it. It is part of our program. It is, every game is videoed. You get access to it. You can watch it whenever you want. There's a session on it every week. Which is again is a big part of what we do. It links with the conditioning, it links with looking after yourself, it links with the whole package. So everything comes together to provide you in an environment where you can be effective as a person and also as a player. So everything that we say is what happens. This happens day to day, and this is why I wanted to show off to the world, really, the great job that G and Joel have done this year. And I know Jimmy will echo that too. in the sense of, you know, they've done more than the video analysis. They've instilled an attitude for players to make themselves even better, and they've got a platform to be able to do that. So, you know, and this is from a couple of guys that are doing it as part of their foundation degree. So, you know, this is the beauty of the program. It's very much holistic. It's very much, you know, people that we trust, that we love, that we know that can work with us. So again, just to finish off, I thank you three and Steve in particular, all of you, for, you know, the great work that you are doing. And obviously, if you're a Year 11 student listening right now, again, be a student of the game. Get your fitness levels right up, because this is a massive opportunity for people. And then as and when the trials do come out, hit that ground running. So unless there's anything else to say, boys, we can say farewell. So thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, Dave. Cheers,
very much.
boys.
Nice one.